I have hairdressers and pharmacy today, but still I have to put out something. It's related to what I'm writing, to the book that I'm currently writing. I'm going to talk today about the wounded patriarchal female. I could just shorten that and just say the wounded female, but I'm going to go for the full thing, the wounded patriarchal female. So let's go for it. And I will start by exposing this with a story, with a tiny little small story, a very innocent, like you may think, story. I remember being in junior high, being maybe 12 years old, and at one point, helping my mom wash her car, not in a car wash. Mind you that this was the transition between the 80s and the 90s, so things could be rudimentary. There were car washes in Portugal, plenty of them, but in my small tiny little town we also had these tanks of water where the local gypsies would go to wash their clothes and stuff. And so my mom was washing her car with the bucket and, you know, the close to those tanks, of getting water from those tanks. And at one point, another car comes by, and that's when I realized that other people in the town were doing the same. And it was another mom with another teen. And the teen was a boy, this blonde boy that I had never seen in the vicinity. And so we found it interesting that our moms were doing the same, and that we were just, you know, being very bored. We were just very bored about the experience. And we just, you know, we would just throw some eyes at each other like, oh my God, when will this ever end? And this and that. Most innocent thing. A few days into it, I'm in school, and he shows up, that boy, and he sees me, and I realize that we are attending the same school, which was a pretty bad school, by the way. He was very lucky that he left that school as soon as he came in. I had to bear with that school from year 6 to year 9. And it was a really bad school. I still have nightmares about that school. Anyway, so I see him, and he sees me, and he smiles at me quickly, and we say hi and smile at each other. And these girls, this group of girls from my class, a few of them from my class, a few others weren't, all of a sudden, after that, just decided to start to try to bully me. Like, oh, Selma and her boyfriend, whatever, and, you know, throwing racist slur at me also. Because when women are jealous of women of color, they always go with the racism. This is when I learned that at 12 years of age. I learned it quite quickly, that when females are jealous of you for some reason, that's when they will go for, you know, the racism. That's why I usually say that both of them are allied. Jealousy and racism usually go together. Not always, but usually. Sorry, I still get really tired when I'm talking, and this has happened to me since I've had the Rona. I get really tired if I talk for too long, which to me is terrible because I'm a communicator, you know. But anyway, so this happened at 12 years of age, until eventually my best friend at the time was the poorest girl in school. Basically, it was the, you know, the mixed race girl, and the poor girl were the BFFs, and everybody else was against us, and it was us against the world. And until one fine day, this best friend of mine heard one of them call me the Portuguese equivalent to the N-word, literally just as I was cruising by. They would do that. They would just holler stuff at me as I was walking by. And my best friend just jumped on one of them and kicked her butt. And then after that, it stopped, basically, because I was never a violence type of person. I would have never gotten into a situation where I would beat them up. I could, but that's just not in me. Thank God it was in my friend Tita, if she's still there. Her name was Elga Marisa Valente da Silva. I'll never forget her full name, because Valente da Silva in Portuguese is also an expression for really valiant. And so the fact that she had her name, that she was indeed incredibly brave and valiant and a really good friend, is something out of this world. But anyway, then I was 12 and those girls were 12. In the meantime, I've seen them whenever I visited my hometown. I've seen one of them at the mall looking very exhausted and a bit like she wasn't quite there, to be honest with her, dragging her 2 children along, just looking really exhausted and being really happy to see me. For some reason, she was really happy to see me. And I was nice to her. I was very nice to her, because we are now adults. We are no longer the people that we were back then. And she probably obviously looks back and regrets it, right? And she was really nice to me and introduced me to her 2 daughters, and that was that. But all of this to say that, and now you'd think, Selma, that happened to you at 12 and then it stopped. No, all of this to say that this happened to me all through the course of my life. And this happens to women all through the course of their lives. And this is why I keep saying that we can complain about the patriarchal paradigm as much as we want to, but us women, or a lot of us women, also need to do better. Because, guys, this just happened to me again 2 years ago at some job. Because these women didn't like the fact that I was talking to the PE teacher a little too much for their liking. Literally just talking, just saying hi, or just saying, hey, how's it going? Ooh, what a day. Have a nice weekend. Bye. Exactly as I did with this guy at school at 12 years old, because a group of women didn't like the fact that, you know, this PE teacher, he was quite attractive consensually, and I was friendly with him. All of a sudden, they start trying to bully me as well at work. So this happened to me at 42 years of age. Guys, I'm 44 now. This happened to me again at 42. And between 12 and 42, it happened to me also in other instances. So if you're a woman and you're not ugly, and if you're talking to someone whom people consider consensually good looking, you will still have the tiny little patriarchal female being jealous and displaying that primeval, primitive attitude of competing for men. It's like, I am talking to the PE teacher because I have more in common than with you, you know, with him because he's a normal person, than with you group of hyenas, because that's exactly how you behave. I said hi to this guy because and he said hi to me because we recognized each other from when our mothers had taken us to be very bored while they were, you know, washing their cars. It's just beyond. Mind you that in the case of this PE teacher, he was a married man and everything. So can you imagine if they'd also started making up stories all of a sudden? And this is what you call the patriarchal wounded female. Women who are incredibly insecure and will project their insecurities onto the next woman, who engage in really primitive Paleolithic type stuff like competition for men, competition to get male attention, or if they feel like that male empathizes or sympathizes with you in any way, they will want to bring you down and destroy you and destroy your reputation and make things ugly for you. This happened to me at 12, and it happened to me in my 20s, with people inclusively making up stories about me when I was a virgin. You heard that right. Making up stories about me when I was actually a virgin. This happened to me in my 30s, and this happened to me in my 40s. So you can't talk to men ever because of the feral, wounded, patriarchal female. But obviously this patriarchal female, this comes from deep generational wound and trauma. Obviously, the way these types of, I call them females because they don't behave like women, they behave like females, like little women, like little females. Wounded, feral, insecure, women who obviously feel ugly, women who obviously feel unattractive. And again, and that is really not my problem. I mean, I have myself to mind, excuse me. So a lot of what I'm writing in this new book of mine is how there's still a lot of healing when it comes to women. And that's why, for instance, I avoid friendships, be it with women or with men. I have a couple of really good woman friends, one of them being my sister, and a couple of really good male friends, man friends, gay man friends. And I leave it at that because I don't trust people to be healed enough to get any close to me, given everything that people have brought to my backyard, in the past. So the book is practically finished. I don't want to sound cryptic, but I can't give too much because this stage is really important. Is the stage where I proofread and proofread and proofread and proofread and proofread. And so wish me luck with that. I've made this video as a preemptive sort of a preemptive introduction. Preemptive introduction is a bit of an oxymoron, but as an introduction to the book that is coming, but also so that those types of women grow the consciousness awareness, expand their hearts, start looking in the mirror and understanding the wrongs in their ways, and start doing better both for themselves and for their daughters, because their daughters also deserve better examples than that. Their daughters and their sons. Okay, the youth of this planet is craving for better examples than those which most of y'all have been putting out there for them. The youth of this planet, I will repeat this again, is craving for better examples. There isn't much time for a lot of those wounded patriarchal females to expand their consciousness awareness on this planet anymore. As I said, a lot of those people will simply not be allowed to reincarnate in this planet anymore because they've given as many chances as one could have given them to evolve lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and they haven't taken them. They keep repeating the same mistakes. So as I said, a lot of those souls are going to be reincarnated into this primitive planet after that, because often they've even regressed in mentality to that primeval primitive ethos. So obviously this planet can no longer be the place to host them. And when people refuse to evolve again, they start regressing. And when you start regressing all the way back to the primitive era, as a soul, that's as consciousness, that's what you energetically and vibrationally become a match to. So that's where you go to after this experience. There's no more time on this planet. The planet wants to, New Agers say ascend, I say the planet wants to step into its next evolutionary stage, okay? If you want to go with it, go with it, and let's go with it. If you can't go with it, you can't go with it. You fall through the cracks and you have to go somewhere else where you'll have to start all over again. Invent the wheel all over again. And anyway, this has been the video. Do let me know what you think in the comments. I mean, have you been the target of situations like that yourself? I'm pretty sure that you have, because unfortunately this is the place, this is the world that we live in. I'll be done for today. I have to go to the hairdressers and then pharmacy. I have a lot to do, but I love you all and I hope you have a wonderful, lovely week. Bye, everyone.